Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
How's it going, Outriders? Matt, Dan, and Jeff here in our very remote stations. How's it going, gentlemen?
Good.
Oh, I'm glad. Looks like I got moved up in billing.
Yeah, I decided I was going to alter the agreement. Pray, do not alter it further.
So I'm last now. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been last in my heart, Jeff. Don't you worry about that.
Living life like you do, Matt.
Wait.
At the very bottom.
So you may have intuited already, but things are a little bit different here in Echo Base. We basically are trying our first attempt at doing an online podcast here. So we usually have prided ourselves on being able to record in the same spot. So bear with us as we try to work through this. I think we spent like an hour and a half trying to get the technical details worked out.
Yeah, we had it worked out earlier in the week, and then it just kind of all went to hell today.
And that, yeah. So
Those Jawas we hired are useless.
Oh, see, you got to go straight to the Ugnaughts. You know, they're real, quality labor forces. Those Jawas, sand gypsies, really. But we got a lot of stuff to cover today, guys, and we're going to do our best to get through it as well as we can. First thing, we got, all sorts of announcements, new battle cards, stuff from the holographic Adepticon. I don't know, the virtual Adepticon that was going on. But, of course, we got to first stop in for some Star Wars news. Dan, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so there's actually been a lot of casting announcements with Mandalorian. Now, it's already been previously announced that Mandalorian Season 2 has wrapped filming.
They're just coming out with the casting announcements, but they're already done shooting.
Yeah, that's why, interestingly enough, they're announcing them afterwards. A few of these, I actually thought they would hold as kind of like reveals during the actual show. But the big one, of course, was Rosario Dawson was confirmed as playing a live-action Ahsoka Tano. This is something I thought they would have just held, to make it because it would have been a heck of a surprise if nobody knew about this and it would just shown up on screen.
No, that's too big. It couldn't stay under wraps. They had to get out ahead of this. Rosario Dawson, she's fantastic.
Yeah, somebody really wanted to update their IMDb page and get this out there.
Well, she's been talking about it for a while that she's wanted to get into the Star Wars universe, right? Not really like as Ahsoka, but I'm pretty sure I've seen articles about her, discussing it or interviews.
Hey, but if they were able to keep Baby Yoda under wraps, I figured they could have kept this under wraps.
That's fair. If I can't imagine how much Werner Herzog was like chomping at the bit to get into Star Wars, but even he got in. So I'm glad Rosario is too.
Yeah.
I saw an article, too, that said the actress from the Clone Wars, Ashley Eckstein, she weighed in and said that she's excited to see Ahsoka in a live-action role, but, of course, she doesn't have control of the character. She's just one of the many voices of that character. So she kind of made a really good post or, interview about how she was glad to see the character moving on in the story. And, of course, I think everybody wants to be a part of the characters they love, but you're still happy to see it being presented in a new way.
Yeah. I don't know how, because we saw a little bit of Ahsoka older in, Rebels. And I think she's already like way taller than Ashley would be. But anyways.
Yeah, and going from the voices to the live action, it's different because, the actor or actress doesn't always look like you might necessarily want the live action person to look. And then what are you trying to do? You're going to dub over the voice, similar to what they did in Solo, the movie, where they took
David Prowse?
No, I thought it was Sam Witwer's voice.
No, on Darth Maul is what he's talking about.
Oh, Darth Maul. Right.
Yeah, Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. They could get into some weird territory doing that.
Yeah.
So Rosario, who else we got?
Bill Burr was confirmed to reprise his role as the smart-talking Imperial sharpshooter.
Was he Imperial?
Yeah, no, he said he was an Imperial marksman, and I remember the episode he was in, they made a joke about Stormtrooper accuracy.
Okay, with the third arm.
Yeah, the little backpack gun.
At that point, he was kind of a mercenary, right?
Right. I think he'd left the Empire. I thought that was pretty clear. So that's
Yeah.
Yep. And then also, and I'm going to mispronounce these weird names, Michael Bain?
Bean? Yeah.
You'll recognize him as from the 80s, Kyle Reese from the original Terminator, and Corporal Hicks from Alien. He has also been confirmed to be joining the cast, but his role has not been announced of what character he's playing.
That's pretty cool. I wonder what he looks like these days.
He kind of looks grizzled. He looks like like he's been through the Terminator War and the Aliens War, but he's a great actor, so I'm excited to see him back.
Oh, so it's Jango Fett. Got it. Or Boba Fett.
Well, I was about to say, Django's kind of he's
it's his
missing
son.
a head.
Yeah. No. It's Boba's kid that he named after his father, Django. So Django Jr. or Django the Third, or so, I don't know. But cool. Yeah, can't wait to see that. Also, there was a letter that went out from FFG. Jeffrey, what do you got on that?
Well, we had two letters. One was from FFG and one was from Asmodee. FFG, they came out and said that they're suspending their organized play events through June 1st. So obviously everybody knows that's related to the coronavirus and trying to do our social distancing and limiting the limiting the exposure of people to each other.
Completely reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. So I wonder if they're still going to ship the kits. And then, once everything is done with this, they'll be like, hey, carry on as normal. Or if this is going to give them time to catch up on some of those kits that seem to have disappeared.
Good point. I never thought about the kits. Well, considering our store never got the last one, but that's a whole nother side point.
Yeah.
And I mean, there could be shipping delays going on. Well, I know there's shipping delays going on with all this.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it probably gives them a chance to catch up on things. And obviously, you want to limit social interaction. So, good call. The other flip side of this, kind of a sad thing, is Asmodee announced that there's going to be no new products shipping through April 2020. So, May is when we should see all the product arriving at stores.
Makes sense, because a lot of these stores are closed. Obviously, if government hasn't mandated them to close, it's just generally a good idea. So it wouldn't be fair for all the online retailers to get everything, ship everything. And then by the time these physical stores are able to reopen, everyone already had their product and they wouldn't be buying it. And it was just makes a double whammy.
Yeah, I was talking to the guys at Power 9 and they were saying that the distributors are all shut down, so they're not getting shipments and they're just staying open to do like curbside. Like you can check out online and they'll just run it out to your car, kind of like the supermarkets are doing. But
for those absolute necessary gaming fixes that you need. I mean, that's not bad.
At least like Jeff, you've got a big family that you're like, oh, let's have a board game night or something. It's like,
yeah.
And people have plenty of time. They're going to need paint. They're going to need brushes.
Yeah.
Oh, you think people are actually doing hobbying?
I thought about it. I haven't done a single thing. I put some models together, like 2.
I'm going through like 80s movies. I've done, I think we're going to do Terminator tonight, but we got to watch Demolition Man the other day and Total Recall.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just working your way through the decades.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it from FFG on news. Obviously we had the Adepticon announcement, which we're going to get to. So, yeah, that was all the bad news that we had.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that there will be a society left for the shipments to arrive to and kits to be distributed thereunto. But on some happier news, we do have a lot of information on Vital Assets now.
Yeah, so originally this was going to be an announcement at Adepticon, and then that got canceled, and I was like, oh, that sucks, we're not going to see anything, but FFG came forward and said, yeah, we're going to do a stream. So they did their stream, which was cool.
Yay, and we got a bunch of cards to go through here. 10,000 yard view. Overall, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you guys think so far?
Oh, thumbs up, definitely. This is going to add so much more variety and really an element of randomness, unless you're bidding for blue player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're going to have a total of, 8 cards now to choose from? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 8 in each category.
Right. Yeah.
And since you choose 4 for your army, it's literally going to be hard to tell what your opponent's bringing. So I think the bid for blue player is going to increase dramatically.
Yeah, because this was something I was thinking about, how I build my army. And with the old battle cards, I just kind of slapped an army together. I did put some thought into it, obviously, because, you can't just go in willy-nilly. Otherwise, you play like Matt.
Hello.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would, I'd build my army first, and then I would choose which battle cards I thought best suited that army. And obviously I was building my army to work well together, to synchronize well, to pass tokens if they could, to support each other with, flanking. But now I kind of have to flip that strategy around and look at which battle cards I might see, which I think are going to be popular. And can my army do any of these 8 battle cards?
Last episode, we were talking about like Jin and Cassian and all that. Are there any obvious choices here that you think would go straight into that kind of build?
Yeah, so I built my list. I flexed around my LVO list, and it's going to have similar units, but I can kind of swap in my leaders and my oh god, I can't think of it now. Operatives. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
So with Jin, Cassian, and K2, you can infiltrate, but you're also kind of telegraphing what you're doing. You're not going to be able to infiltrate all 3 of them far forward because, you can only infiltrate beyond range 3. So if your opponent sees you doing certain things, they can just drop a unit in there, and then you might have Jin too far forward, out, hanging out by herself. Cassian and K2, I think they're a little bit more sturdy. Jin's pretty good too. But really, I think those deployment cards and the objective cards are going to make a big difference on how you're going to deploy those units and which cards you're going to try to go for, and that bid. Just looking at some of them, like Bombing Run, I was thinking about that with Infiltrate, but you can't start your bombs outside of your deployment zone. So you couldn't infiltrate your bombs way far forward and then drop them like round 1. And that's a good, it's a good even objective, because you don't want one side to have like a very tipped scale on how they can score. But payload, you can jump them out there and kind of like hand the bomb cart off, because you just have to have your units around it to be able to move that bomb cart. I was, kind of looking at those and thinking of which ones can I really do. Sabotage and moisture evaporators. Jin, Cassian, K2 can drop right in on those evaporators and start getting to work. Recover the supplies, kind of the same thing. Your opponent could stop you. If you get blue player bid, you drop 1 unit in, and then they start deploying things around them, within that range 3. So I don't know, like it's going to be challenging building the army and then preparing for any of these objective cards that we might see, or deployments.
Variable, yeah. Dan, I know you're really excited for Inferno Squad. Same question to you.
Yeah, though, in my opinion, Iden is not really best used infiltrating, because, again, that 3 courage bubble is just way too
difficult to
do it. So I don't think Imperials will be playing that type of game.
Okay. But are there anything that you think would be really interesting for Imperials in general?
Oh yeah. So all armies in general, there's things like Hemmed In, which is, in my opinion, the most interesting deployment.
I love that deployment. And all these are available online. They got put up on the Facebook group, so you can kind of follow along with what we're talking about. But yeah, the Hemmed In deployment strategy looks fantastic.
Oh yes, and anything that cares about that center point, or any deployment put on the center, so your key positions, recover the supplies, hostage exchange, which I'd like to delve into a little bit more later. Since the blue player has that kind of pyramid going up towards the center, and red player has the opposite of that, facing away from the center.
Flanking positions.
Yeah. It's going to be really useful for blue player to pounce on that center position, because they are literally just a 1 range band from that center position at the very tip of the top of that pyramid.
And we all know the power of the flying V kind of formation there. So
I was looking at that, though, and I mean, it could swing both ways, because you do have more access to that center position. But if you look at red player, they are closer to the left and right positions, that left and right center of the board.
That's true. If you're doing like intercept the transmission or something, that could be problematic.
Yeah, because you get a pounce on those 2 objectives. And then, yes, your army is split. That's something that I'm not a big fan of right from the get-go. But I mean, honestly, most of the time, I end up kind of splitting my army a little bit anyway, flanking with half of it, and maybe having like a forward-moving force at the front line. So it's not necessarily bad, I think, for red player in this case, depending on what objective you get.
Right on. I know the one I'm really looking forward to doing with droids. I want to do the rollout, transform and rollout deployment with the payload. I just want my B1s escorting a payload around the map. I think that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, rollout is really going to benefit longer range. It's essentially a variant of Long March.
Mm-hmm.
You just got those two little dog legs shooting up there, and I'm really not enamored with the vehicle side of that, because when has it ever been good that your vehicle is so far forward of your army that it's the only thing in range of your opponent's army?
Oh, I'm super excited about this. As a Republic and Rebel player,
Yeah.
I want my vehicles in the front. Running that triple AT-RT list, my vehicles were the front line of my army. Go ahead and shoot at them. I'm going to roll up with the troopers next, repair that vehicle, and then take a shot at you. So, yeah, I 100% like rollout. And then with the AT-RTs coming out of the Republic, which we'll get into later, man, they can get so far forward that you're pressuring that enemy early with armor, with potentially a hard-hitting unit. It's really going to change things, I think, for the list that like to run vehicle heavy. And that's what you wanted for a while.
Yeah, I want to see barbecue AT-RTs or even naked AT-RTs. Get back to kicking people.
So I'm reminded of the very first game of Legion I played. Matt, you were there, but I was playing against John. It was actually the first time I had met John. He flew his snowspeeder out and stuck it out far enough, and then my DLTs just proceeded to just destroy it. So I don't know. I think
there ever since.
Yeah, and I really think hanging one vehicle out there. Now, Jeff, you bring up a good point of multiple vehicles. Don't present one target to your opponent. But if you're presenting one target, I don't think it's a good idea to thrust it way out there, just to give your opponent the ability to just pour fire into it before the rest of your army can catch up and support it.
Yeah, and obviously, terrain's going to come into play here. You never know what terrain you're going to play on. So, yeah, you don't want to throw those vehicles out there super early. But my triple AT-RT list, it's got link targeting array on the AT-RTs. I want them up front. I want them in position early so I can start getting aims and double aims on them. Because, man, AT-RTs with double aims in the rotary do a lot of work. Not to mention, if you throw a flamethrower on there, you can get in your opponent's face way early. Droids hate it. Any of those big units that are clustered together, it's scary.
Yeah, it'll be fun, though.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have variety, too.
Yeah. Was there anything in the supply drop that we didn't know about already?
I think most of them were implied or inferred by their art or by the spreads, but...
I think Holo Projector, that one we didn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Targeting Rangefinder.
Yeah, Holo Projector, the Rangefinder, and the Precision Scopes. I think those are the most powerful ones out of there. Holo Projector, one-time use... HQ uplink that you can do to yourself or to a friend at range 1. That is super powerful.
Yeah, because how many times do you have a unit out there that you really want to get a command to and you don't have HQ uplink on them, or you want to play a certain command card? I think that's a really, really cool one.
Yeah. Just looking at fortified positions now too. We need all of the barricade laid out for that one. Oh man, that's going to be just a slog of a firefight. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, and I wish Josh were still around to see this. I'm sure he would give us a barricade.
Let's talk about the past.
I'm really excited about fortified positions because rolling those white saves on rebels or even the red saves on the clone troopers. Heck yeah, I would love to be able to drop some barricades out there where I want them.
Yeah, that's fair, especially if you've got a really strong plan of where you want to go and move during the fight. You can kind of plan around their destination.
Yeah, you can use them for that. You can use them for almost decoys too. I'm going this way, and then flank your army the other way. Obviously, your opponent's going to see that as soon as you start making moves. But I don't know, anything that changes the battlefield before you start deploying is kind of cool. And this is something we haven't really had in the 800-point game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and gun lines are gonna love the heck out of that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Also, Jeff, I don't know if you need to check, but it sounds like Bothans might be infiltrating your studio over there.
Yeah. There's only so much I can do. You got 2 dogs and 18 other animals.
That's one nice thing about having usually sequestered for this, but this is the world we live in now.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, never mind.
So war weary. Who wants that in their deck?
Anybody with Vader, man. If you can force your opponent to not care about.
No. I think you're reading it wrong. It's not the value of the courage; it's the range of the courage is ridiculous.
Yeah, range.
Yeah, so I've
seen a lot of people mixing that up.
Yeah, I understand, but you can pressure your opponent with Vader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like if you had a DLT list, you're shooting long range. Vader doesn't care about suppression, so he doesn't care about checking suppression.
That fear bomb you can do too could do some real work.
I think multiple commanders will like War Weary more because having 2 range 1 bubbles is going to be a lot better than a single range 1 bubble. So multiple commanders will love War Weary more than anything else.
Units that like to ball up or that don't care about or not units, but armies that like to ball up and don't care so much about spreading out, like clones, I don't think it would affect them much because you're trying to keep that range 1 anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the one I'm most excited for is I want to test hostage exchange if we can't get vital assets before we can meet up again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so no, hostage exchange. I have seen some confusion online exactly how this works, but this does sound the most fun and most hectic in my opinion. The oversimplified description that I'm thinking of is, think of it as recover the supplies, but there's only 2 boxes, and they start already claimed, one by each of the players in the center of the battlefield. But more specifically, to set this up, both players select a core unit before deployment. Blue player places the red player's unit on the center of the battlefield, or as close to as possible, and then does a 1-speed move. Red player does the same. They place blue player's unit on the center point of the battlefield and does a 1-speed move with it. And then both players attach a hostage to each unit.
And then that hostage slows down that unit as well by speed 1, I think, right?
Correct. So every unit that has the hostage attached to it increases courage by 1 and reduces maximum speed by 1 to a minimum of 1, of course, and can't start a melee. Units that'll love this, of course, are things that you can pump up the courage on. So add an officer in there and get a courage 3 unit.
Sure.
Or Gideon. We'll talk about him later. And of course, anything that doesn't care about slowing down, moving, like snow troopers. I mean, they're not changed at all. Yeah. And the fact that they can still shoot after moving speed 1 twice, that's going to be great. So yeah.
Returning fire.
Yep. And then you score it. At the end of the game, you get 1 victory point for each hostage you control, and an additional victory point if you're controlling it in your friendly deployment zone. So it's going to be fun that you're both trying to get your opponent's hostage while trying to protect your own. So I think that's going to get really chaotic.
Yeah, for my rebels, or for rebel players, this one is one that I immediately put an X on. Because having white saves, having, trooper units that, I mean, the basic rebel troopers, not that bad because they do, you get the dodge, but you have to get the dodge on them first. And then if you're doing a dodge with that unit, you're not double moving. I was like, nope, when I saw this card.
Rebels say no.
Yeah, you could play around it, honestly. Like, you could have a 4-man squad. You could... Okay, they get shot, they're dead, and then you grab that hostage with another stronger unit, potentially. I just don't like sacrificing a unit that early. I feel like any of the armies that roll red defense dice are going to like this a little bit more. Like you said, your snow troopers, the phase 2 clones, they would be great for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, phase 2 would be great because they already have the base 2 courage, and you could throw some good training upgrades on there, too, to help them out.
Yeah. Even with Rexes, after everything's deployed, I think we were talking about this before. You have to throw Rex out there a little bit, but with some of these units coming out, AT-RTs, the tank, I think you can support those units a little bit better. So you get Rex out there, he gives that unit a speed 1 move back towards their own side, and then you start defending with Rex and those other units if you can. That's a little scary though, because you are hanging your commander out there.
It just seems like a really good hostage exchange. Is good. It's much better than capture the flag, which is kind of what this feels like.
Yeah, I like it though.
Yeah, no, this will be a lot of fun too. I want to try payload, and then
payload.
But we'll probably throw in some bombing run at some point. But
yeah, payload I'm really looking forward to. But bombing run, I was not like, of all of the new ones coming out, I looked at payload and I think bombing run the most. I feel like I'm missing one. What are the new ones? Payload, hostage exchange, and bombing run. Is there another one?
Yep.
No, it's those 3.
It's just 3. Okay. Oh, yeah, because we have the other extra one from the priority supplies. So, yeah, payload was the only one that I really liked because I felt like I could kind of skip that bomb through my different infiltrated commanders, like I was saying earlier. And then bombing run, I just...
Fire brigade kind of thing, pass the buckets.
Yeah. Basically, because you already have those units in position early, so you can kind of, you're telegraphing a little bit, but you can also infiltrate to a good defensive point, And then, it's only range 1, so you can deploy to rooftops, you can deploy behind buildings, and then just kind
of potato it all the way back.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's before deployment, so you can actually react with infiltrate. But just to clarify the specifics with payload, the blue player places their payload cart first.
Yeah.
The red player then places their payload cart. The blue player then chooses a piece of terrain for the red player to score on, and the red player then chooses a piece of terrain for the blue player to score on.
Yep.
The terrain piece can overlap a deployment zone, but it can't be fully within a deployment zone. So, I think the best placement for your payload cart, because you do have to deploy it first before your opponent chooses your destination, is just basically as close to the center of the battlefield as possible, because really, if your opponent sees you put it on one side, they're just going to pick a piece of terrain that's literally the opposite corner.
Away.
Yeah.
And then what I like about Payload 2 was it is unit leaders, so it's not trooper leaders that can move the bomb, if I'm correct, right? Or move the bomb cart. Let me see.
Yeah, unit leaders, so it doesn't specifically call out troopers. So any vehicles around it.
Back in the game.
Yeah, which is another great decision by Fantasy Flight to include these cards that aren't just trooper specific. So you're not seeing, trooper spam armies. You get to get those vehicles back in there again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but payload's going to run one of two ways. It's either there's going to be a center point where the payload carts are going to meet, and that's just going to be a hell of a furball.
Yeah.
Or there'll be, depending on where the destinations are, the payloads may not even come near each other, and then you're going to have to decide, do I go keep pushing my cart, or do I go disrupt my opponent's cart?
I have a feeling it's for me, I probably would try and flank with the cart and not just run it right into the middle. Again, being the rebel player, I like to play those dodgy games and we're not good at just running into melees. We want to pop out, shoot, pop back into cover, play those silly games, drop some mines as a saboteur, because if you're escorting that cart, oh man, it's time to see some sabs again.
Oh, sabs. I hate sabs so much.
There is a reason to play, Sabine even more coming out here in the new future.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for some of these because it's giving you a chance to defend these objectives that where the objective is. So if they're trying, dropping bombs all around that building that you're trying to keep safe, or whatever, that terrain piece that you're trying to keep safe and not bombed. So you put bombs around it.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. Well, any final thoughts before we move on to the second segment?
All three of these, but mostly Hostage Exchange and Payload, are going to be great opportunities for the hobbyists and 3D printers and everything to put some really unique custom hostages and custom...
Wait, how many baby Yodas are we going to see? I should like to see the child.
Oh, yes. So not only that, I already have my personal hostage. I've showed it before, my Captain Rex, and not Clone Wars Rex, my Star Tours Captain Rex. His miniature, I'm definitely going to be using as my hostage every time.
We should get an Echo. That seems topically.
Oh, poor Echo.
Let's bring it
back. Payload wise, I have a few printed for my Star Tours board, but I think I'm going to print up someone specifically for this, as I'm going to be printing more of the loot crates from Battlefield as my payload of pride and accomplishment that I'm going to be bringing over.
So not bombs, but just goodies. Hey, we got you guys some goodies, some cupcakes.
Cupcake. Yeah, some cookies.
So if you guys in the comments definitely put what custom hostages or payloads would you guys either like to see or you're working on, and definitely I'd like to see some interesting hobby ideas.
Newt Gunray pulls. So
does that mean for War Weary we're just gonna have like a bunch of tired soldiers, like you have to model they're all taking naps now?
Well, they're your Jeff. Of course, they're tired of your crap. But anyway, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys.
You are receiving the Legion Outriders podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. Oh, man. This next part's going to be exciting. I'm pretty happy. We got more spoilers from Inferno and then Clan Wren stuff. But Dan, we talked a little bit about the Inferno squad earlier. You said Aiden's going to be your commander, but How does the rest of Inferno Squad fit into your grand galactic conquest plans?
Yeah, so just a quick recap. Adepticon, as we all know, unfortunately, due to world events, had to be canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But FFG was kind enough to do a live stream of the announcement they would have made at Adepticon.
Hooray!
And that is on both YouTube and Twitch, so if you haven't seen it, we do recommend going to watch it. But they did show off the 4 units that were unofficially leaked through various forums, but they officially announced them, and they did show some spoiler cards from them. Of course, my personal favorite being Inferno Squad, if I haven't gushed about Inferno Squad enough. But yeah, unfortunately, we did not get the unit card, which most of the community is chomping at the bit to get that, because that's going to be a lot of what's going to make or break the unit is the core unit cards, the core weapons, keywords, etc. But we did get a lot of the upgrade cards for them, the 3 heavy weapons, actually.
Yeah,
came out from that stream and from other sources, the article, and then there were some of subsequent streams of showing off some of the upgrade cards. But the first one they showed off on stream was the heavy weapon Del Miko, which is one of the members of Inferno Squad.
So 38 points. What's the 2 on there? What's the 2 mean?
The 2? Oh, okay, so there's a green 2 on this, and this is the same as the ARC Troopers. They have their named characters. They actually do have this 2 on it as well. That is the hit points of this mini. So they're now doing individual minis with multiple hit points that can be added in and out of squads. So they in one of the articles they listed it as main characters or named characters that aren't quite to the level of being, operatives or commanders, but they can still contribute and have that subsequent power level increase over a standard grunt. So Del Miko, and there's a lot of similarities to the ARC Trooper 5s and Echo that they had in there. He can be added to a Imperial Special Forces unit.
No, you had it right. Inferior. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an Imperial Core Trooper unit. So he can mix and match in multiple units. Now, some clarification, and they had to clarify this on the stream because there was some confusion on there. When he can be added to an Imperial Special Forces unit, that is the generic term for what the unit that Inferno Squad's going to be. Both the Inferno Squad and later when Jeff gets into Clan Wren come with 2 unit cards, a generic card, so you can have multiples, and it's encouraged to buy multiples of these sets, and also a unique squad. So it'll be named Imperial Special Forces, and then the subtitle will be Inferno Squad with the dot noting it that it's unique. And Clan Wren will be doing the similar thing. So when both Del Miko and later Gideon will talk about can say it can be added to an Imperial Special Forces unit, it can be added to just the generic form of Inferno Squad or Inferno Squad, not say a Death Trooper unit or a Royal Guard unit or a Scout Trooper unit. And of course, FFG clarified this. They said if it can be added to any unit of a class, it will have the icon.
Okay.
So in this case,
triangle as we see for Imperial Trooper there.
Yeah. So it can be added to any core trooper unit.
So we can have sniper snow troopers if we really wanted to.
Sniper snows. Gideon's going to be amazing in shores. I keep talking about Gideon.
I mean, those 2 red dice staring me in the face.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
But Del, to go over quick, he's range 1 to 5, 2 black dice. So he's basically a normal sniper, a little more expensive. As he is the kind of mechanic in Inferno Squad, he does have a repair 2 capacity 1 and a new keyword that we haven't seen before, lethal.
At odds. Where would you think you would see I wish I had a sniper, but I also wish he could repair something nearby?
It is
in back, like a 10-4 maybe.
It's not super synergistic in my opinion, so I think that adds points to him that weapon wise he's not as amazing as Gideon, and I keep gushing over Gideon. Gideon is really the superstar here. 38 points as well, 1 to 3, 2 red, 2 health. Same thing, he can go into an Imperial Special Forces unit or Imperial Core Trooper unit, and he increases courage by 1, adds coordinate Core Trooper, and is the leader. This is just so much for 38 points.
Yeah, so much good stuff.
So, I mean, I think his home is going to be in Shore Troopers because, yes, they took away the Shore Trooper order chaining. He gives it back in a limited capacity because you put the 1 order on him, Shore Troopers chain to their mortar. He can then coordinate to the next Shore Trooper next to him, and then they coordinate to their mortar. So with 1 order, you get 4 face-up command tokens on the board in this particular case. So
awesome. What about our 4 T-21 Special Forces?
So
at 29 points, so a little bit cheaper. It's got 4 white dice, range 1 to 3. That critical 2, though, it gives you a T21, basically.
Yeah, I'm not enamored with the T21 on this, because this is eventually the Stormtrooper T21 ported over to the Special Forces.
Right.
What's going to make or break this is what's on the original unit card, what their core weapon is.
If they have Surge natively for...
Yeah, if they have Surge, if they don't have Surge. So that's going to really, really tie into what the usefulness of this heavy upgrade is. But it's basically going to be the generic upgrade. So when you run the generic and you don't want to pay for a named character, or if you already have using the named characters, you can put a generic heavy weapon in the generic Imperial Special Forces.
Okay. Anything else we know about Inferno that we're excited for, or just kind of waiting for those cards to come out?
And this will apply to Clan Wren as well, as all of the named characters and all of the heavy weapons models in both of these kits will have the basic rifle or pistol in terms of Clan Wren as a modeling option. So you can use these additional models if you buy multiples and you don't need 2 named characters. You can basically turn them into a generic by putting a generic weapon in their hand, so that you can really mix up your model variety. So it is encouraged to be purchasing multiples of these. I'm going to be picking up 3 once Power 9 is able to take pre-orders again.
Right.
I'm definitely going to be putting down for 3 of these.
Cool. Yeah, exciting stuff. They look really good. I like the models. The little pose they have there, and the paint job looks really good.
Oh yeah, and they've really upped their paint job on the samples.
Okay, now let's go to a very, very basic paint job. It's just like gray and yellow, right? But
yeah, it's not too fancy.
Colors of Clan Wren, Jeff?
Yeah, so I think they're pulling this straight out of the Rebels TV show, where Sabine was working with Clan Wren and fighting the Empire. I think it was fighting the Empire. But
Imperial Super Commandos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Jeff, have you watched Rebels?
I have. It's been a while since I watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly.
I know you were catching up on Clone Wars. I've forgotten if you actually had seen Rebels.
Yeah, no, I did watch Rebels. So yeah, I'm a little familiar with this. Like, you can see her mom is in the models that you get. She has a different sculpt slightly on her helmet and slightly different armor. And I think they talked about that in the stream as well. But I'm pretty excited for these guys because, hey, red defense dice in the Rebel army.
Get out!
More excited.
I just think Mandalorian fans in general will be loving this because everyone's been screaming for a Mandalorian faction. Well, here you can get your taste of Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's kind of a good different flavor from just that standard stuff that we've seen so far going into Rebels. And like you said, kind of that sub-faction, and who knows how they implement factions in the future. If they might say, hey, you can bring Mandalorians into this, or Inferno Squad over to Rebels. Yeah, I'm just kidding, but once they defect.
Phoenix Squad
now? Yeah. Wait, that was the Rebels themselves.
30 Hera's unit.
Yeah. We got kind of a small preview, the same as the Inferno Squad. We got to see 3 different units. Not 3 different units, 3 different upgrade cards. So we got the Jetpack Rockets, a one-time use that's pretty powerful, range 3 to 4, red die.
Is that for everybody in the unit to use?
Yes. So your whole...
Okay. They show like a panoply of rockets just launching out there in the art. So I was like, that's got to be for everybody, right?
Yeah. And it's only 8 points. So it's a pretty good upgrade, I think, depending on what they search for. But again, you're rolling a red die at range 3 to 4. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be dealing with pistols for your other stuff. So it gives you range. It's got blast. It's got impact 1.
Yeah. Any of those armors, which I've struggled to deal with as a Rebel player, you get two or 3 squads of Mandalorians out here with this, man, you could just wipe armor off the board really quick.
At least it doesn't have ion on it.
Yeah, for the droids.
And add another 20 points in.
Yeah. So it is good to see him adding impact to, or not adding it, but adding more utility to these units coming out so that, you can handle these armor units that we see releasing, the AAT, the Saber Tank, and of course all the ones that have already been out for a while. But that's pretty cool. I'll go with the range stuff. Tristan Wren.
Mm-hmm.
So range 1 to 3, that's good. He has 2 health, the same as the other models, which is kind of cool. You can assign a damage to him before you assign it to the rest of the squad. So it kind of gives you like a little bit of buffer too. I believe that's how it works. Same as C-3PO.
Oh, really?
I think that's how it works. I'd have to check. Okay. But I think with these multi-point models, you can apply damage to them before you apply it to other people.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's how they talked about it. And I could be wrong. He's got lethal 1, so kind of a cool use for your aim token. If you need Pierce, you can spend that aim token to get it.
I really
You don't necessarily need it.
The Rebels really don't have a lot of access to aims.
Yeah.
So I think, is that aim token going to be better spent re-rolling 2 dice or adding a Pierce?
Better go get a supply cache to get you a rangefinder or something.
I mean, I think what's nice is it triggers after you roll your dice. So if you roll, 2 crits and you're like, hey, I want one to go through, you spend that aim token and you have Pierce. If you roll 2 blanks, spin your aim token and grab that reroll.
What's that one upgrade card? You make a move, tap the card, you can get an aim.
Offensive push.
Yeah, thank you. So that seems like it would be pretty well received on these guys.
Yeah. Anytime you can get that aim token on any unit, I think it's great.
Yeah.
The other armies don't pass them out as freely as Empire, unfortunately. But you do have cards that let you do it. Like if you have Jen in your list, she has her little coordinate card that lets you share tokens. So it's not impossible to get aims out there. And then if you're already in position, just aim, shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, suppressive.
You said suppressive and then 38 points. I like all of that.
Yeah, then this is a rare source of suppressive for the Rebel faction.
Yeah, we don't have it too much. And then the other upgrade that we saw was the Beskad Duelist, 2 red dice, and then he gains Duelist where you can spend an aim token to gain Pierce, or you can spend a dodge token in melee to gain immune to Pierce. So it's kind of cool. You have that offensive or defensive choice. If you want to try and kill something, you go for the Pierce, get the aim token, and then if you're going up against like a saber wielder, you might want to grab that dodge and hopefully survive a little bit longer.
Hopefully. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And the model for this mini is really awesome looking.
Yeah, all the models for these look great. Each one looks very distinct. Nice poses, easy to identify, the different units. And then, oh my God, it's going to be a nightmare to paint, though. Just looking at all those little owl faces or whatever you call it on the helmets.
Yeah, I was going to say, you spent a lot of time on your Sabine.
I did, yeah, and I still didn't get her helmet as good as I would have liked. Fortunately, I've made some changes to my hobbying, so I think I can get a little bit more detail on stuff. But yeah, just looking at the picture is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, that's if you want to do the canonical paint job. But I'm just thinking this will be a great canvas for everybody to do crazy custom paint jobs and hobbying. And I'm sure there are going to be Death Watch squads and other awesome paint jobs on there.
Mandalorian, like the Mandalorian, because we have models that are Mandalorians now. So you don't have to print your own.
Huh. But I'm really hoping this duelist kind of upgrade card is going to take off for other things, like Wookiees, maybe something like that. Something to get some Pierce in there. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, like back update some of the older units that need to see table time.
Royal Guard, I think, would be really good for that too. Well, they've got the staff, I guess, but still, being able to get a Pierce in there would be real nice. Yeah,
so I'm pretty excited for these. Same thing as Dan was saying about the Inferno squad. You're going to have 2 options. You have the Clan Wren, which is the named card, and then you'll have your standard, I believe it's Mandalorian Resistance, that troop card, the generic one. So I'll probably be picking up 2 of these.
2? Not 6?
I'm not.
Gideon, Sabine, and 6 Clan Wren Resistance.
Well, you can only take 3 of them. I mean, I guess you could make your Mandalorian army and sub them in for Rebel troopers and, get permission. But yeah, I'm going to start off with 2. I typically do that when new models release. I get 1 or 2, make sure I like them. And then if I want to get a second or third one, I do. So yeah, I'll probably start off with two of these. I think they're going to be good in Rebel armies. Just, that kind of second wave of hard hitting stuff. They're probably going to be range 1 to 2 with the pistols, similar to Sabine. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, just do them all as counts as. It'll be fine. I mean, they look like regular Rebel troopers, don't they?
Yeah, sure. Just put the Rebel trooper head on them.
Yeah. We got some other cards leaked out here recently. I want to hit real quick because it's kind of the one-off. And I think you posted up on this, Dan, on the Facebook, but the command control array for vehicle only with the Umbaran tank commander sticking out of the top there.
With a bunch of STAPs in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be coming with the STAP Riders.
It will be coming. Okay. Makes sense. They got STAPs in the background. But.
Yeah. But yeah, so the STAP Riders, Matt, I don't know if you want to weigh in as the Separatist player of the group here.
Oh.
Would you like me to just go over it then?
Oh, yeah. Go for it. I mean, I'm excited. Are we getting the STAPs or just talking about the command control array?
Well, the command control array is a comm upgrade for the STAPs.
Right,
It will be coming
right.
with the STAPs.
But it allows you to do the coordinate.
Yeah, range 1 to 2. It's vehicle only.
For 2 points, which is really nice. Yeah, I could definitely see taking that.
Yeah, and this can also go on the AAT as well if you do the OOM pilot on it. So it definitely helps with the coordinate ranges on there. But yeah, the STAP riders, they're very analogous to speeder bikes, which makes me kind of mad because...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They seem a little bit better because 73 points, and they do have just the one comm upgrade, which is same as the 74Zs, right? They've only got a comm upgrade.
Correct. So they're slightly cheaper, and they do have a couple downsides, but they have a lot of upside, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. So we got the FL1 rule, which after you perform a standard move, gain 1 dodge token. That seems really, really good. A little bit of that, what are they? Those
Tauntauns.
Rammy boys. Yes, Tauntaun.
Rammy
boys. Wow. Gosh. You know,
not the Roller Boys, the Rammy boys.
Straight and losing your damn mind. 3 health with a white defense dice. Whatever, I guess.
White, no surge, which is common with the with the Separatists. But Agile 1 plus the Speeder 1, so they're automatic 1 cover.
Yep.
And then Agile 1 after a move. There was some debate online, and I don't know if it's been resolved whether or not Agile triggers off the compulsory move of Speeder. Oh, they have Speeder.
I believe so, because a standard move is anytime you're doing that, you're using your template. That's a standard move.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I was going to say it's going to come down to the wording for that, I think. But
yes,
if that's what
I'm 99% sure that's a standard move.
You're always the guy that proves your work by posting up. I don't think you get enough credit for that, by the way. You're an invaluable resource for the rules questions.
Well, I still make mistakes, but I try to make sure that I learn and you know, if I'm not sure, I go back and read.
At least you're citing your sources and like posting the relevant data. But coordinate droid trooper vehicle, cover 1, speeder 1, 3 black dice, range 1 to 3, critical 1, fixed front. So at least you got at least critical 1 in there.
Yeah, so they don't have a 360 weapon. This is a fixed front only weapon. But I just think that the original Imperial speeder bikes, they need Agile 1 because they're, even with the point drop, they're not getting a lot of table time. They could use some love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Agile 1 will bring them up to par with a lot of the current units, like Tauntauns that are overpowered.
I'm excited.
They were overpowered
ability on this because, especially if you get hit with the War Weary, you know, now you've got things that can help pass orders. Wait, am I reading that right? I think I'm reading that wrong.
No, War Weary is just the courage bubble.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. My bad. It's the bubble.
Yep. These are going to be a great cheap option in the Separatist army. I think there were some theory crafting I've read online that people were getting up to 9 and potentially 10 activations with these guys.
Nice.
I think it's nice to just see some vehicles and some different options in the clone and droid armies in general.
Yeah, for sure. But still keeping that B1 flavor with the rider on there. That's cool. Speaking of
and the
more
terrible defense,
the AT-RT, we had to figure it was recovered Clone Wars era technology that the Rebels were using, but now we're getting the Republic version of it, which it seems a little bit better.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm excited. When I first heard them announce it, I was like, it's probably going to be the same thing. They made some upgrades to it. Yeah, so the Republic one is a lot of the same rules: armor, climbing vehicle, expert climber. But you have Scout 1, which is kind of cool because that's how they were used in the Clone Wars cartoon, right? They were kind of that scouting unit, fast, out in front of the battle, getting stuff done. And then the biggest thing that I like is they surge on defense. Thank God. So
yeah, they surge to hit, they surge to defend, and that's really cool. It's actually really nice because you bring that up, and it's like you would think that the difference in tactics between the two armies, like the Rebels really value the AT-RT. This is important to them. They're not just scouting with it. That's like it's going to be holding the line for them. But what it was used for in the Clone Wars, absolutely.
Yeah, and so this one doesn't hit as hard because it doesn't surge for crit like the Rebel one does. But that surge for defense is a big difference. And, it's kind of a nice flavor upgrade because you do have the clone on there wearing his armor. And, maybe he's just better at operating it. So you do have that slight upgrade to your defense rolls. but you're not rolling red defense, so you're not, it's not crazy. And then let's see what else the differences are. It's a little bit more expensive. It's 10 points more expensive, which makes sense. The grappling claws are the same, 3 red dice, impact 1, but you have a different primary weapon, which is your rocket launcher, which is kind of cool. A black, 2 white, critical 1, impact 1. I mean, that's kind of cool. You could run a naked one of these, or naked couple of these, and you still have a viable weapon to use. Not necessarily taking that hard point upgrade, which is probably going to be 20 points, I imagine.
Yeah, and another cheap activation for clones, and another army that could use another cheap activation.
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than your naked core trooper squad, but the survivability of it, I think, is going to be a little bit higher because you're only going to roll defense on those crits or impacts going through, and you do have a little bit more defense than the normal RT. Well, that Rebels have.
And modeling wise, they did mention that this will have multiple poses for the legs and multiple helmets for the riders.
Nice.
So there's going to be a lot of different modeling options on this guy. And I saw some chatter online of people complaining, I already have 3 AT-RTs. I'm just sticking Clone Rider. No, there's going to be a lot more flexibility in modeling on this one.
Yeah, because they should be going to the hard plastic on this too, right? Because everything now is hard plastic, no more soft, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I like the riders. One looks like he's wearing like a little dust cover over his face, and then the other is I think the traditional, looks like the vehicle rider with the small slit for the face mask.
Yeah, they had the ARF troopers that were used in the Clone Wars cartoon, and then the one that was in episode 2 or 3. They had the 2 different rider options on there as well, and he can be either holding his rocket launcher or have it on his back. As well as, like I said, the legs can be different poses. So for the people complaining out there that they're just being resold the same model, you're not being resold the same model.
Yeah.
I probably will get 3 of these though. So
yeah. Look.
Oh yeah, AT-RTs are your jam. I know you hate Tauntauns and love AT-RTs. So yeah, I fully expect you to be running these all the time.
Yeah.
And speaking of modeling, Matt, I don't know if you enjoyed the alternate model for the STAP rider. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, with the googly eyes.
No.
The one waving? He was like, ah.
No, there's one literally with his fist up, shaking it. I shake my fist at you, sir.
It's good. But I'm really excited for all these releases. The news seem to be very interesting with that. It's a bit of a bummer. We're kind of in a situation where we're waiting for the stuff to roll out. But we need to actually get my brushes out and start doing some painting.
I think it just gives FFG a chance to catch up and get everything lined up and in a row, because if they said their warehouse is still open, that means they're still receiving stuff from overseas shipments so that they can basically get a buffer of product and then start releasing it like we used to have where it was monthly. I'm really excited for once everything clears up. I think it's going to be great going forward.
Okay. Any final thoughts on these guys before we start wrapping things up?
Just excited for new units as always. It's nice to get that variety in armies. I hate having stuff sitting off to the side unplayed like Wookiees and everything else. So hopefully some of these units will bring ideas back into FFG's head and say, hey, let's make some changes and bring these guys back, because we're seeing some new keywords, some new army style, play styles. So that would be cool.
Yeah, now that we've got a little bit more units out there and more experience designing for the game, I'm excited to see what could be happening in the future with those. But we're going to wrap up. But of course, we got to thank our Patreons, and our newest one, Travis Smithson. We also have some news. Well, maybe lack of news on our Patreon rewards. We've got the dice, right, Jeff? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so I've got the dice sitting in my house right now. They look great. I made some small changes to them to make them look a little more distressed around the edges. So, I showed them to you, Matt. It's not damage from shipping. It's intentional design.
Giving the Star Wars pass to make it look like it's a worn, lived-in universe. So it is with the dice. But just a slight
but they look great.
Different from the original mock-up we put up.
Yeah.
But I think it looks really good. What's our plans? Are we going to be able to start shipping those, or are we kind of waiting for things to settle down a little bit more?
So I think we're waiting for things to settle down a little bit more. I don't know how the post office to look right now with customers coming in or, them accepting shipments. I just want to make sure that we can do it as safely as possible. No risk to us, the hosts.
Yeah.
I doubt there would be any risk to the recipients.
No.
I'm worried about my health just as much as everybody else's.
Yeah. I drove by our local post office yesterday, and it was packed. It was slammed. It was a full
Yeah.
parking lot with people waiting. I have no idea. Apparently they were distributing toilet paper there or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, so I think, probably we'll start shipping these out as soon as we see a break in all of the events going on and some of the lifting of these social distancing guidelines.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, well, thanks, guys. Dan, Jeff, what are you guys' goal for the week? What are you guys going to be working on?
I'm going to try to work on some painting. Before we go, I do want to say thanks to Mark Thompson, who did our new intro, outro.
Oh, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, so he was really cool to work with. We've got some amazing sound clips from him, and he worked straight with us. Really cool guy. I was listening to a couple of his books, so I'm excited to throw that stuff in there today.
For those who may not know, he was the voice actor that did the Thrawn books, the current ones from Zahn, which are fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. Big fan.
Among other newer Star Wars books and a few other books, he's an excellent voice actor.
Yeah. Well, we've got him doing the Thrawn voice. So. But cool. Thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you here in a fortnight. Take care, be safe, and take it easy, Outriders.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.